What is up, YouTube? JankyYGO here. My name is Michael, and I'm doing something a tiny bit different. Well, different as in I'm actually reviewing cards. Because I'm kind of excited to talk about this new archetype, so let's go. Alright, Magnifistorm is the name of the archetype. It's Magnifistorm. Megalia is the first one we're going to talk about. Level 3 Wind Fairy effect, 500 attack, 1500 defense. First, you can only use the first effect of it once per turn, or you special summon it with the first effect once per turn. I haven't done this in a while. Second effect is a quick effect, or is also once per turn. First effect says if you have Mystical Space Typhoon in your graveyard, or your opponent has no spell or trap, you can special summon this card from your hand. If a Magnifistorm quick play or Mystical Space Typhoon is activated, you can special summon one Magnifistorm monster from your deck with a different name from the monsters you control, and you can't special summon except for wind monsters. This card's okay. If you're playing a pure Magnifistorm deck, it's pretty good. I have thoughts on this deck already because I've already read the cards, so I've been spoiled. So I'll save my thoughts for the end. All right, this card good for pure. Alright, Magnifistorm, Erdam. It is level 3 Wind Beast effect, 1300 attack, 800 defense. You can only special summon it with the first effect once per turn, and the second effect of this card's name, you can only use the second effect of this card's name once per turn. If you have a Mystical Space Typhoon in your graveyard or your opponent controls no spell or traps, you can special summon this card from your hand. All the level 3s are going to have that, so I'm going to kind of start skipping over that part because the main effect is if this card is normal or special summoned, you can add one Magnifistorm monster your hand, except for a copy of itself, or a Mystical Space Typhoon. So, that is the important part. It doesn't lock you into wins like the other one, so it is pretty good, and you can like use generic cards and stuff like that. Pretty good. Next card, Suen, has the same effect of no spell or traps. You can special summon it from your hand. If it's normal or special summoned, you can add one Magnifistorm spell or trap or Mystical Space Typhoon from your deck to your hand. This card's also very good. Also doesn't lock you into wins. And we're going to see why these two cards are a 2-card engine. It doesn't matter which one you draw. And that comes up a little bit later. So, Magnifistorm Prothea says, this is what almost all of them say. So I'll read the first effect. Actually, they are a little different, so I guess I'll read the whole effect for all 3 of the new higher level ones. So, if a quick play is activated, you can special summon this card from your hand. It doesn't have to be a Mystical Space Typhoon, so if you want to play them with, if you wanted to, you could play them with Runic. Also, the wind lock is for the rest of the turn, so that's an important distinction. So, if this card is normal special summon, you can add one Magnifistorm card and or Mystical Space Typhoon from your graveyard and or graveyard your hand except for itself. You can't special summon anything except for winds. Can't not be destroyed by battle, card effect while your opponent controls no spell or traps. This one's once again, I think it's more for a more pure variant. I don't think you're gonna be wanting to play this card in any variant that doesn't like lend itself to being just like only these cards. Especially because we don't have super good wind monsters in the extra deck anymore. Now that Appaloosa and Baron and like all the really powerful cards are banned in the TCG. So I don't think these cards are going to be amazing as a pure deck, but I have an engine that we'll talk about once we get to the spells. So, Magnifistorm, Vortex Beauty, Valorant. It's quick play. You can special summon it from your hand. I think almost all of them actually have that. So I think the first effect for the level 5 or level 6 or higher ones are, if you activate, if a quick play spell is activated, you can summon it from your hand. The second effect, when your opponent activates a monster effect and you have MST in your graveyard, you can negate the effect, and if you have 2 MSTs in your graveyard, you can destroy that monster. If Mystical Space Typhoon is activated while this card's in your graveyard, you can special summon it. So that's a trigger effect, so that's pretty cool. It's not a quick effect, but it does, summon itself back. It's also an aqua, so technically, if you wanted to, you could be playing this one specifically in Tier Element and just mill it, which would be funny, and you could fuse with it later. Don't recommend it, but it is funny nonetheless. Magnifistorm, Great Pyro Phoenix. It says Phonics, but it'll probably be Phoenix. It is a wind pyro effect. Its first effect is the normal activate spell card, quick play spell, and you summon it from your hand. Quick play spell is activated. You can target up to 2 cards your opponent controls, shuffle them into the deck. And if your opponent, and if you activate a Mystical Space Typhoon while this card's in your graveyard, you can summon it back. Both these cards kind of do similar things. They're kind of like your boss monsters if you're playing a main pure variant. And yeah, they're okay. One has 3,000 attack, one has 3,000 defense, so that's pretty cool. But we're going to get into the real meat and potatoes, which are those quick play spells, because I think these are the better cards of these, especially this first one. So, Magnifistorm stands a tribute. Activate one of these effects. You can only use each of these effects of this card's name once per turn. The way that that's worded is just like the... it's just like Mitsurugi Ritual. So if you open up multiple of these, you can use one effect, then you can use the other. So, I'm pretty sure, because I think Mitsurugi Ritual is worded the same. But its second effect says, if this card is destroyed by card effect or by the effect of Mystical Space Typhoon, you can set it. It's just a way to get MST into your graveyard. But that's not why we're here. We're here for the first one. Add 1 level 4 Magnifistorm monster from your deck to your hand. Why is this so important, and why do I think this card allows this deck to become an engine? Well, if you play Magnifistorm Stanza Tribute, plus the level 3 that searches the monster, and the level 3 that searches the spell and trap card, you have an engine where if you go first, you have 2 level 3 free level 3s, and it doesn't matter which one you add or have open in your hand. You add the spell. If you have the spell card, you search for the monster searcher, you special the monster searcher, then you add the spell and trap searcher, you special that one, maybe you play another one after that, like another one of the spell and trap cards, because they're all pretty decent, and then you have 2 level 3s to do whatever you want with. And that is very good. 2 level 3s that don't lock you into anything pretty much let you do almost anything in the game. Because you can go into Cherubini, and you could send a level 3 that starts a different line of plays. You can overlay into the Great Gabonga and just go into Goblin plays, which also will allow you to go into Mementos, because they have a Goblin Memento. You see, there's a lot of really cool things you can do with the idea of just having cards that are free bodies that are specifically level 3. So they're pretty good. I think that this is a good card engine, even if you wanted to, let's say, play 3-1-1, right? You could do that in a deck. So that's fine. I'd nothing but praise for this card and then those level 3s. But if you want to play pure, or you want to main deck Mystical Space Typhoon, I think that this is your next best option, which is Summoning Technique. So Summoning Technique, the Magnifistorm Summoning Technique, lets you send a Magnifistorm monster from your deck to the grave. They have their own Foolish Burial. And then you can also add the MST, and if it's destroyed by the effect of MST, you can set this card. So the good thing about this card is that the level... it allows you to summon back the big ones, the level 8s, the ones that has the negate, the one that has the ban it or the shuffle into the deck effects, they're big boss monsters. It gets you into the graveyard and stuff like that. Also, it gets you an MST, so if you are playing, if you want to main deck Mystical Space Typhoon, you absolutely can. And that's another good thing about these cards is they search you Mystical Space Typhoon. So, in theory, now that we have a searchable out to any spell and trap. I mean, we technically did with Runic, but like that's a little bit different because Runic makes you give up your battle phase. None of these cards do. So like, if they have a problematic spell or trap card, you can just search in the Mystical Space Typhoon and out it. And what's cool about the current format at the moment, every deck except for pure Mitsurugi, but even then they sometimes play the trap card. It usually ends on one face down. Sometimes it's Imperm, sometimes it's Dominus, sometimes it's that, or in the case of Malice, they have their own trap cards they end on. In the case of Rise Deal, sometimes they end on the trap card, but also you can just destroy the field spell, and then that's a negate you don't have to worry about, assuming they don't have a way to summon it or activate it back from the deck. That's just something that you can do, and then so playing main deck Mystical Space Typhoon isn't necessarily a bad option in the current metagame at the moment. And worst comes to worst, you can side them out. The free side out targets for your silver bullets. So next up, Magnifistorm Sight Trance. So activate one of these effects, draw 2 cards, discard a Magnifistorm or a quick play. If you don't have any, you discard your whole hand. Add one, or you can add a Mystical Space Typhoon to your grave, from your deck or grave to your hand. So this card's okay. I think this is definitely more geared towards a more pure Magnifistorm deck, because you definitely always want to be discarding a quick play or a Magnifistorm card. That being said, even in Dark World, you don't want to discard your whole hand. You want to like discard without drawing, without replacing the cards. So that being said, I think this card's okay. You might just play it. Like if you're just playing this deck as an engine, maybe you play it just to get the Mystical Space Typhoon, and that's it. So, but here's what everyone's talking about. This cool card right here, Magnifistorm Sovereign Tyranny. Once per turn, you can target 3 quick play spell cards in your graveyard, including a Magnifistorm. Activate these in sequence. Shuffle them into the deck, and shuffle them into the deck, then draw 1 card. When monsters you control gain 300 attack and defense for the rest of the turn. Second effect, once per chain, when the Mystical Space Typhoon is activated, you can target 1 face-up card your opponent controls, negate its effects. If the card is destroyed by the effect of Mystical Space Typhoon, you can set this card. So, the reason why everyone is saying, talking about this card in specifically, because Mystical Space Typhoon can finally negate. So, the joke is over. MST negate is the thing in this exact circumstance. There was an argument that it was technically a way to happen if you target like a quick play spell or a field spell, but technically, according to rules, that's not negating the effect. That's it resolving without effect, which is different. But I'm going to talk about this card a little bit more, and then I'm going to tell you what I think about this deck for Advanced. Then I'll tell you some thoughts I have on it for stuff like Domain, because I know people love Domain and stuff like that, and it's picking up more popularity as time goes on. So, this card is very good in, so as far as an engine goes, this card probably doesn't make the cut. If you're just playing it in advance and you're just using it as an engine for the free bodies, so you can go into pretty much whatever you want, I don't think this card makes the cut. However, if you're playing this as a more pure variant, I think this is a 1 of, maybe a 2 of. because this card is going to recycle your quick plays and everything like that. And you're going to do it to draw a card. Your win monster is going to get boosted. It makes your Mystical Space Typhoon so much stronger as well, and gives them kind of a purpose. So it also is a perfect card for you to set going first, destroy it and everything like that with MST, and then it'll set itself. So that's also something you can do. I think it's better to do it on this card going first than it is to do it on the quick plays, because you usually want to actually activate the quick plays. So that's what I think about this card for advanced. For domain, I think this card is amazing, because for domain, that first effect, just that first effect of targeting 3 quick play spell cards and shuffling them into the deck and drawing a card, is very good, because in domain, the thing that you want most of all is recyclability. You want to be able to recycle your stuff, because the game is going to go a lot longer and you have multiple opponents. That's what I think for domain. What do I think about these cards, like, as a whole? If you want to play these cards in domain as a deck, who should the deck master be? Who should should you play him in? Stuff like that. Well, if you want a pure variant, a more pure with a wind focused theme, honestly, you pick any of the level 3 monsters. All good, they all do the thing. The reason I'm saying that, because I'm not necessarily like, hey, you should always pick a starter and all that. My brain goes, it's because in domain, you can't actually summon the level 6, 9, or yeah, the level 6 or the level 9s from the Deckmaster Zone without tribute summoning them. So that's why I don't think they're quite as good, because they have an activate effect special summon, whereas level 3s don't. And on top of it, only one of your opponent has to control those spells and traps. So whether you go first, whether you go second, and whether you go third, there's always going to be someone that has no spell and traps. So that's one way to look at it. The second way to look at it is for Magnifistorm Megalia, is that to summon one Magnifistorm from your deck with a different name, you have to activate another Magnifistorm quick play or an MST. So there's an argument that maybe you don't want that one if you do want a starter. So if you want a starter, I'd probably pick either the Monster Searcher or the Spell and Trap Searcher. And there is even bigger argument to choose the Spell and Trap Searcher, because I think that in the long run, in like a long game, that Spell and Trap Searcher is going to be more useful, because eventually you can get the MST, you can get your search spell, you can get all the cards that you're slowly wanting it over the course of the game, and then you can start recycling them with the trap. So there's an argument that if you want to play these or one of these as your deck master, probably go with that. That also gives you access to winds and beast warriors, so that's pretty good. Overall, I think this deck is cool. I think it's awesome, and there's a lot of things going for it. So that's it for this video. Hopefully something comes around in a month or so. Hopefully I'll get better internet and I can start uploading more, at least like weekly. If it's your birthday today, happy birthday, and of course, and as always, have a wonderful day.